Hi guys, we're at Topaz Detailing London. We've brought the McLaren 650S now into the paint protection film room. The car has undergone a level 3 detail here, so it's looking truly brilliant. Some lovely reflections off the surface, especially with all of the lighting in here. Topaz have some fantastic facilities, and this is the paint protection film room. So the car is going to undergo a full body protection film wrap. We're going to show you through the process and watch it happening. The reason, of course, you do this is to ensure that after you've detailed it, it stays looking brilliant throughout time. No stone chips, no damage to the surfaces. So let's get underway. Okay, quickly, we're joined here by Nabil Namo, co-founder here at Topaz. Please could you explain a little bit about why we're going to use paint protection film?
Yeah, sure. So you have the three main benefits for paint protection film. One being prevention of stone chips. So 90% of stone chips don't go through the protective layer. Number two, swirl marks. So when you wash the car incorrectly or not carefully, you get swirl marks. But with the film on there, you don't get any swirl marks at all because it's got a self-healing layer. And then thirdly, a fear factor element. So when you park the car in the city town centre, or when you go on loads of road trips, you don't get any problems about people leaning on the car.
That's always a good one.
Yeah, so that's the three main reasons.
Okay, great.
Sure.
The guys have already started work on the 650S, but I wanted to show you basically the first part of the process. So I've been watching and learning as we go. The most important part, though, is the patterning. So there is a database of all sorts of supercars, but Topaz have a huge amount of information more about the different cars that they've worked on, because you pre-cut the film using a plotter over in the corner there. And obviously that means you need to have the pattern and the layout and the shape. And especially if you come and look here at some of these really complex edges, you can imagine one piece of material can't get all the way around here and through this. So you have to use a variety of different pieces, all pre-cut and shaped. So if I swing around here and show you on the computer screen, we've just taken a screenshot of some of the cutouts here. You can see that you have, this is just for the front end, all of these different pieces. So to highlight two in particular, you have this centerpiece with the park distance control sensors already cut out and this little wiggle down at the bottom. That is the center. Obviously the number plate sits across there. And then you also have these two pieces which make up and these two at the sides, the carbon fiber section. So if you think about what we're looking at there, if I just swing back round to the car here, you can see that the centerpiece is of course this, and you've got that cut out to fit around the headlight section there. And for the carbon fiber, you have the lower front splitter, you have those extra side pieces, and then you have the central section. So you can see you've got the four pieces for that too. Obviously you go around the entire car working with that. If you get to something such as the side blades, you can pre-cut the logo so it just goes around perfectly, drops down into place. So when you've got that up on the computer screen, and you've got all of the parts set, you can set them off printing on the plotter. So we're starting off with the front splitter. The surface has been cleaned down already. Now it's had a layer of slip solution sprayed on before we lay down the film here, which again has been sprayed on the back so that it can be moved around and not immediately stick. So you can see it has to be worked into the exact correct position. So it starts with the slip solution to make that possible. So to prevent the corners from moving around too much, you apply a bit of fixed solution. You can line it up perfectly, and that will hold that in place. So when you're then moving around the other parts, you know that it's going to stay exactly in place in that corner. And again, a little bit more at the next pinch point, make sure it holds in place. There's also some slip solution on top of the film to make sure that when you're squeegeeing it out, which ultimately makes it stay down, you don't damage the top surface at all. Now it's a case of continuing to work around the material, ensuring it's positioned correctly with the slip on the surface, squeegeeing out the solution underneath, and it sticks down in place. And then you have absolutely no idea that there's a piece of material stuck down on there. And it will of course settle and be cleaned up afterwards. And dried off, of course, there's still a little bit of water on the surface there. So while work continues on the front, we're just going to take a look at this rear quarter panel. So some slip solution being put on now, which will then be squeegeed off just to clean up the surface and make sure there are no bits of dust or dirt or particles of polish from the detail beforehand or anything like that left on the car. This being a much larger piece, we have to be very delicate about holding it down and fixing it in at this end while peeling it back over the entire piece. But again, there's plenty of slip solution underneath just to make sure it doesn't stick down until it's completely ready to be done. And actually, this is an interesting example. It's got to get around the spoiler at the rear there. Somehow end up, and actually, this might surprise you, the door's done, the side vent's done, that piece is done, this is done, this is done. And you can't tell at all that there's material on there, but obviously it's going to keep the paint with those very clean reflections that we got out of the detail. It's just funny to see that that ends up perfectly flat and non-visible eventually. The bottom piece has been placed and perfected. Now it's time to put in the next piece. Same process again, just for that side there. We've also got a slightly raised piece just along here, and then this side as well. It's all starting to take shape nicely at the front. Let's head back towards the rear. Again, you can see here, this panel has gone down very cleanly on the front edge. Even the headlights get a bit of film. What happens now is you leave it in this room overnight. It's warm in here so that the film will sort of settle a little bit and move around slightly. So then tomorrow, quality check can be done on the car and just make any last minute refinements that are needed. The cool thing is we've been joined by that Pacific Blue P1 that's also had a full body protection here, full coverage, and looks spectacular. But we'll be back in the morning for those final touch-ups. The final stages of the detailing have been complete, so now we can take a look around the car and, of course, at the paint protection film. Really and truly, you have no idea that the car is covered in film. Absolutely everywhere. Headlights, the carbon, the paintwork, even the different sort of black plastic pieces around the car. From the detail we did before, you can see the reflections of the car with all the lighting we've got in this room just look brilliant. And those are going to be protected because, you know, let's just say a stone comes up and hits here on the bonnet. What it does, if it's a really small stone, the self-healing properties of the film will actually adjust and basically remove it. And if they don't, you can heat it up a little bit and just bring the surface back to life. Worst case, you just refilm over one panel wherever the damage is. So it's basically a lifesaver, especially if you want to keep really good quality paint looking really good thereafter. Like I said, absolutely everything you can see is covered. Even if you come around in here, the inside of this is covered, these little pieces are covered, everything here is covered, the whole car is protected. So hopefully it's going to keep looking good for a very long time, and I'm sure that will be the case. We'll report back in the future, of course. But it seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me. If you have such a nice car in a colour you really like, you need to be looking after it. Too much stress dealing with stone chips and the like. But of course, a big thanks to Topaz for allowing me to come in and film parts of this process. We haven't shown it all, obviously, but the main core elements that go into protecting the car, but it's just phenomenal. This is going to give you a little heads up. There is a line in the film around the door mirror, but good luck ever seeing it, it's just not there. Because obviously the film can't bend around that entire shape, you have to use templates to make it fit. It's just awesome. Anyway, like I said, off on the adventures this year, hopefully going to keep looking amazing. It's exactly how I want it. I can't wait to get it outside, although with winter weather, it's not going to be long until it doesn't look so good. So I might be back here soon to give it a clean up and a touch up. But thank you again to everyone involved getting on with making it look so unbelievable. That's it for now. I'll catch up with you very soon. Cheers. Ready and sorted out here, and then we're going to go inside for that one, the Mantis front splitter finished in the carbon fibre. That pack also gets us